We are with one of the renowned plastic surgeons, Dr. Sheila Nazarian.
Beverly Hills plastic surgeon and entrepreneur, Dr. Sheila Nazarian.
Star of Netflix Skin Decision, Before and After.
She also appeared on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian.
If you want to know what's happening with the economy or with how people are feeling about the world around them, ask a plastic surgeon.
Dr. Sheila Nazarian is a pro-Israel activist.
The hatred has always been here, just that people are emboldened to share it out loud. I'm pro letting them share all of those feelings and letting us hold them accountable afterward.
With my first post, I lost 3,000 followers in 30 minutes, but I said my family didn't leave Iran, so I can be in a country with freedom of speech to not use my speech. I would not have been able to sleep at night if I didn't speak up. I find it really interesting that the people that are the most passionate about America are immigrants. It's like the people that lived here are so ungrateful because they don't know the alternative. When Trump got elected, people's confidence in the economy shot through the roof. We had to suffer the last 4 years to appreciate him. That's my guy.
The world is never going to be totally fair. The world is never going to have perfect equality, and that's okay. Use it as a driver to motivate you. I'm so grateful to be in this country where talent, grit, motivation, and perseverance can lead to success.
I knew that in America, if I worked hard and used my talents and my intelligence, I would make it.
We are with one of the renowned plastic surgeons and founder of the Nazarian Plastic Surgery Institute. We'll call it Dr. Sheila Nazarian, also tremendous advocate, an outspoken advocate as well for Israel and the Jewish people across the world. Host of the Emmy-nominated Netflix series.
Yep.
Skin Decision. So I always heard about this, by the way. I just started doing like a little more research. In fairness, I did not watch it.
Yeah,
which I
totally fine.
I'm not looking for. I'm a guy. I think it'd be more problematic if I did. And also a big time entrepreneur. You founded multiple companies, but we have Spot 26, and then you have the skincare.
Spot, my own skincare line. Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Into plastic surgery?
Well, yeah, I guess we could start there. I was more like curious how the transition from just like being a plastic surgeon and then going into the entrepreneur.
So I was actually an economics major at Columbia, and then between general surgery and plastic surgery, I did the Marshall School of Business as well. So I've always loved business, and the psychology of how people spend their money is fascinating to me. So
could you give an example of the psychology of how people spend money?
Yeah, so for example, post-COVID, surgeries shot through the roof because people were faced with their own mortality. And they're like, okay, life is limited. I saw a bunch of people die. Life is short, and I'm going to take care of, what I need to take care of. It's my husband.
Pick it up. Tell him I love you.
Farajun, I'm doing a podcast. Yeah, I'll call you right back. Okay, bye.
So hold on. You think people
Yeah.
started spending more, not because per se they had more money?
Well, I think it was a trifecta, right? So I think it was they weren't traveling, right? So they had more money. They weren't necessarily buying clothes with their money because there wasn't anywhere to go. I think that they were doing everything on Zoom, and so they were looking up with the camera at their neck, and they're like, what the F is happening to my neck? And then also, I think that they were like, life is short. I'm going to invest in me, and I'm going to do things that make me feel good.
That's fascinating. You're seeing a different, you view the world in a totally different world than I do.
Honestly,
I'm realizing that from just one sentence of like.
No, honestly, I feel like if you want to know what's happening with the economy or with how people are feeling about the world around them, ask a plastic surgeon. And it's not just because of surgery. It's the dynamic between how the surgical side of things are going, how the spa side of things are going, and how the skincare sales are going. So I find that when the economy is bad, or when there's like a natural disaster, like the LA fires, for example, just happened, surgery, again, very busy. If someone's business burned down, they still have some money, right?
That's so interesting.
But now they have the time to have downtime because their business burned down.
I would think they'd be worried actually about conserving money because they're worried about not being able to make more money because.
Let me give you another one. The actors' strike in LA that happened. I'm telling you, every year is like another thing in LA. It's very hard to like gauge or set goals or KPIs. So when the actors' strike happened, none of the actors, everything shut down as far as production goes. Surgery shot through the roof because the actors that could afford surgery, this was their chance to have downtime and not have to have another job to go to. Spa crashed because the lower price things like Botox and filler and lasers are what the writers get, or
Right.
the people that aren't like A-list, wealthy, whatever. And skincare sales go up because it's even cheaper than that. So I feel like when surgery's up and skincare sales are up, something bad happened.
So you know the cycle.
I'm telling you.
Do you know the cycle? Like when there's something that, like, can you identify it? I mean, by the LA fires, were you like, okay, business is about to hit?
Like when Trump got elected, literally, I can tell you, the nail salons were packed like I haven't seen them in a really long time. People's confidence in the economy shot through the roof. My spa was packed. I was getting 20 leads a day. I mean, things were like back. I felt like we're back. And then the LA fires happened, and then spa went to like 0. Even tennis coaches I spoke to are like, everyone's canceling their tennis lessons because they feel bad. They're like, my friends, my house burned down or my friend's house burned down. Why am I getting tennis lessons?
So interesting.
It's very fascinating, and that stuff really, I think, is interesting.
I'm loving this Trump presidency thus far.
Love it.
I mean,
That's my guy.
no, but it's not. I know. First of all, what's hilarious is that you maybe deserve to be there, but I was on this list as well. When they put out the Jewish, I don't know what that list was of, like 13 people, David Friedman or whatever. I saw you on there. I was like, yeah, you for sure belong there. I for sure do not. But either way, I made it, so who really cares? But I think right now he is leading with a sense of authority, and he's not taking the bait as much right now. Like he's just
No.
operating.
He's got a plan. He came in with a plan. He knows his audience. So, for example, right now, with Hamas said we're not going to release any more hostages.
So what he put out just now?
He put out, if you don't release all of them by Saturday noon, all hell will break loose. So that's exactly the only language, as from a Middle Eastern person, that's the language the Middle East understands, and he knows how to speak their language.
I have to be honest, I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. And I'll tell you, I don't think there's another president that would ever operate, no matter how strong, even a Reagan, I don't think they would ever sit, in the Oval Office and say it exactly like that.
No.
Like, I'm giving you 5 days. I'm not even like, we're not negotiating.
Yes.
Would anyone ever have done that?
No,
So
'cause-
I'm curious to see how this plays out. Like, it'll be a moment in history that should be interesting to see how it goes.
Absolutely. There was a meme that was put out that was Air Force One, and it had these like massive golden testicles
Yes.
hanging from it.
I saw that yesterday. It's really
That's what it is. It's it's real leadership. It's courage. It's bravery. It's strength and peace through power. Like that's what we need right now in the world.
Yeah. and
Rein it in.
The interesting thing is that we always are all saying, like, just in life in general, like, why can't they just do this? Like as citizens, we're like, why the hell are we doing all these, long drawn out, bureaucratic, ideas just in general, and jumping around, beating around the bush, just do
Yeah.
it, right? And he's just that person that's doing it,
And it's so refreshing.
Yes, it's
and
so
I'll tell you
refreshing.
what I heard, when I was at Election Day in West Palm Beach. I was sitting with a rabbi, actually, and he was saying, it was God's plan to have Trump not be president in 2020. Because if he was, they would have just stood in his way and he wouldn't have been able to get anything done. But we had to suffer the last 4 years to appreciate him and for him to actually come out. Like, he's gotten more done in the last 2 weeks than most presidents get done in 8 years in 2 terms, right? So it's like we needed those 4 years.
We needed a side-by-side comparison.
That's right.
To see what we were getting. And also, I think as well, nothing is better in life, right? Nothing teaches better than experience. At the end of the day, he got another 4 years of experience while being out of the White House, but they threw every single last bit of energy they had in him. I think they're just deflated right now. Like, that's what the sense that I get is they just have nothing.
Honestly, it's not even it's not deflated because they're tired because they threw everything at him. They have horrible policies and a horrible way of thinking that is not mainstream. And the funny thing is they just keep doubling down on it.
For sure.
Did you see after, Kamala lost, on CNN, they were saying, oh yeah, the minorities are racist against each
Yeah.
other. I mean, that was their answer.
That
It
was-
wasn't like, we're out of touch. We need to go talk to people, listen to them, see what it is that we missed.
They were handed their come to Jesus moment, and they took it
and they
just
doubled
ruined it.
down. Like, what?
It's pretty wild, yeah.
I love it though. I'm grateful. I'm like, keep going. You guys keep going. The crazier you act, the better it is for us. Keep going.
What made you decide to go into plastic surgery specifically?
It was a lot of things, but I think for me, I wanted to become a physician or an architect. I really liked wood shop and building and designing. And so I thought, okay, wood shop, orthopedic surgery, hammers and nails. Like, it just makes sense. So I started following around an orthopedic surgeon, and it was really cookie cutter and not very creative. And so a friend of mine was like, hey, why don't you look into plastic surgery? So then I started shadowing a plastic surgeon, and it was actually perfect. I was always like very crafty. Like when we were escaping from Iran, my mom, told me, okay, we're leaving, like pack some stuff. She didn't tell me like.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I was 7. So she was like, pack your stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make my own suitcase. And I just took some paper bags and duct tape and like made my own suitcase. And that's what I left Iran with.
Really?
So
what was that? How did you guys leave?
My father left first and said he was going on a medical conference, vacation, left me, my sister, and my mother's passport with the government, because that means, okay, we're not escaping. He's just going to a conference. And then my mom took us to a bazaar one day, and we got into this back of a truck, and we were fetal position, like puzzle pieced together on the floor of this truck. And then they put burlap sacks over us and corn, and then drove us towards the border of Iran and Pakistan. And then we got out into a bathroom stop, and it was basically like a hole in the ground was the bathroom. It was like a clay shack with a hole in the ground. And my mom told me, okay, we're going to America. And that's when she told me. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to meet Michael Jackson, because we had so many like bootleg Thriller videos, and I knew the dance. And so we spent one night in the desert with the smugglers and the other people that were escaping. And then at around 2-3 in the morning, the border police saw us, and they started shooting. And so we got quickly back into the pickup truck, and we were sitting on top of our luggage, kind of crouched down, and they went over a ravine at like 2 wheels on one side, 2 wheels on another, and then the border police didn't follow us because it was too dangerous for them.
Wow.
So then we were in Pakistan for 3 months waiting for visas, reunited with my dad in Vienna. We lived in Vienna for 3 months waiting for visas to legally immigrate to the U.S.
Crazy story.
Crazy story.
And you have memories, I assume.
Yeah.
That's wild. So when did you get to LA?
We actually were in Queens with my grandma for a month.
That's where I grew up.
Yeah, and it was those 3 towers that like everyone's grandma lived in. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Which one's in Queens?
I don't know. There's like 3 towers. I don't know. I feel like when I say that, everybody's like, oh yeah, my grandma lived there too. And so we stayed there for a month, and then I think it was just too cold, and we're like, okay, we had family in New York and family in LA, so we went to LA. We lived with my aunt, with her family of 4 and us, our family of 4, in a 2-bedroom apartment.
It's so funny because I was just talking with Elika about this. I was asking her why she's so passionate about against the Islamic regime in Iran. It almost feels like she was there herself when she wasn't. Her parents were there, and she was born in the UK. And her answer was that the diaspora feels it very much because they all grow up, the effects of what happened to their parents very much lives on through them, because for her, let's just say her entire family is living in a tiny little apartment, and there's just this sense of yearning and pain that is just brought into the family because they were forced to leave, so sounds, I don't know if it's the exact same experience, but
I feel like the Persian Jews, and I don't know who, if you've had any other college students that have been so outspoken on college campuses, a lot of them are Persian Jews that are the loudest speaking up against all the anti-Semitism on campus, because, it wasn't our grandparents that this happened to. It was either us or it was our parents. And so the stories are very fresh. The pain is very real. The fear is very real. And so and also the story, the smells, the sounds are exactly what happened in Iran. And in Iran, I live very close to UCLA. And I don't know if you guys saw it on TV, where the flashbangs were going off, and everybody in Westwood is they call it, Tarantulus. Everybody was like, this is exactly what it sounded like during the revolution in Iran. It started on the college campuses. And then we found out that it was Iran that was buying all those REI tents. Yeah. Right? So it was like they were using the exact same playbook. And so it was very, deja vu for us, and being like, okay, we've heard these sounds before, we've smelled these smells before, we've seen these sights before, and we're not going to let America go down. And this is it.
Yeah, it's also Iran you're still dealing with the same exact, nemesis as you were 40 years ago. Let's just say in the Holocaust, okay, forget about the fact it's not my generation or the one previous to it. Germany is not a threat anymore. Right now, Iran is the same exact people that was problematic, obviously, for you guys, and we're,
and they're trying to, import that mentality to Europe and to Australia and to many parts of Asia and Africa and, yes, the US and Canada.
Yeah, it's really insane that we're living in a world where there are just things going on right now. It happens to be that the only answer as to why people are okay with it is because really they're anti-Western values. This thing going on with the USAID and all these different things. I stop all the time and I just don't get what the fuss is about exactly. Just my brain is just like, I don't get it. Of course we want to protect American tax dollars. And they're what's the fight against this? And eventually I think you just have to come to at least for me, I just came to the realization, a lot of these people do not have Western values. They're anti-America at its core.
Well, I think that it's really awesome that you say that, because for me as an Iranian Jew that left an Islamist country and an Islamist regime, it was very difficult for me to explain to our community, especially the Ashkenazi community, that there are people in the world that do not share your core values.
The Ashkenazis didn't get this?
No. October 7th is when it clicked. Even
the Orthodox ones or the secular ones?
No. The ones in LA, the people around us in New York and in LA. And it was interesting. Right after October 7th, I was invited to speak at a Bring Them Home event. It was one of the first Bring Them Home events. And they had brought some of the hostage, families that, their wife was, or their child, or they watched their father get killed, and they're on stage and I'm at the podium. And I tell them, why didn't you listen to the Persian Jews when we told you these people do not share your core values? Why didn't you listen to us? So much so that what do Jews value the most?
Life.
Life, chai. We hang it around our neck, on our jewelry, chai, life. What do they value the most?
Death.
Martyrdom.
Yeah.
I mean, the deepest core value of life, 180 of that is martyrdom. And I'm basically like I'm speaking to you now, speaking at this event, and these poor people just went through this traumatic event. And the first guy stands up, and I was like, shit, I sit down, and I'm like, oh my God, was I too harsh? I'm very passionate, right? I'm Persian.
I was going to say, totally.
So he stands up and he goes, our religion wasn't Judaism. Our religion was peace, and our religion has been shattered.
Yeah. What a powerful line.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't make peace with people in the world the same way you can't have everyone like you.
How can you make peace with someone that wants you dead? How can you live next to someone who wants you dead?
Because there's the idea that
it's a narcissism and a naivete. It's not an idea that everyone shares your core values.
I would call it more of a naivete than a narcissism.
It's a narcissism. In the U.S., it's definitely a narcissism. Everybody wants to be us. Everybody wants to be like us. Let everybody in.
Right.
Let everybody in. You interviewed Godsad, the parasitic mind.
Awesome.
He talks about suicidal empathy.
Yeah. You don't have to tell me about this. I mean,
I'm on board with you.
The
only reason why you would let somebody in is because you think these people share our core values. They just want a chance. They want to thrive. They want to contribute. They'll be an asset. Yeah. Oh, we're so empathetic and we're such good people. And then you let them in. Look at what's happening in Europe.
The crazy part about the people, October 7th was mainly it's been said a million times, it was mainly the peaceniks. It was mainly the people that thought. But
flying the kites by the border.
Is that I think, I honestly, truly believe these people will forget and go right back to where they were in about 5 years.
No, I don't think so.
I hope I'm wrong.
I think you're wrong.
You still have half of Israel busy protesting for a ceasefire.
Those people won't. Those people maybe no, but the people that
directly were inflicted. Okay, fine. So
directly inflicted, and also, look at New
why
York.
Why do you have to be directly inflicted? Any Jew should be able to see it at this point. If you're an Israeli, you should be able to.
No, the Israelis. I would say the American Israelis. I went and I was at IAC, the Israeli American conference, and. Usually when I'm in front of, until that point last year, I didn't realize that there's a difference between the mentality of Ashkenazi Jews living in America and the Israeli Ashkenazis.
Yes.
I did not know there was a difference in politics or opinion. So when I went on stage, I'm speaking as openly and through the lens through which I see the world based off of my life experience. And they were like, yes. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe that, I didn't realize. And I will tell you that they are very politically aligned to the Persian Jews.
Yeah.
Whereas because maybe they felt the pain directly, you know, whereas the Ashkenazi Jews in Los Angeles or in New York, a lot of them, you know, this has become their entire life, right? Their social circles, their parents of their kids, friends, you know, like it's just like if they admit that they were wrong, it's like they give up everything.
I think it's actually what God said. It's funny that you just brought him up beforehand. He said that someone one time asked him, what's like the most profound thing that he's ever like realized, you know, in his life?
Yeah.
And his answer was that how infrequently people are willing to ever change their mind once they've like come to a conclusion of belief surrounding whatever it is.
Right.
And like people, I think it's being able to admit you were wrong is, and I speak for myself as well, it's like just it's a direct hit to the ego, like at our very core, you know, to be able to say, and people will just dig their heels in no matter what, you know, they'll just double down. But, you know, at the end of the day, what were your thoughts just with the hostage deal in general? I mean, obviously now we have this new development, but up until this point.
I mean, I posted about it that basically it's, you know, not a hostage deal. It's like it's not a deal, right?
Yeah.
It's extortion. And when I saw the hostages actually come out and hug their families, I'm like, whatever, it was worth it, you know. But I just, you know, I can't say this on like general things, but I'm sure they like did some sort of tracking on these people, like the terrorists that they released.
I would hope.
I'm hoping there's some sort of like tracker, some sort of monitoring. You know, when we let people out of jail here, they have, you know, sometimes they have the little ankle monitors. Like,
you know, unless we injected them with something, which would be pretty horrific from a human rights. I mean, if there's anything we would get, I don't give a shit. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, like, these people are animals, the ones that we let out. So
yeah, these people, I mean, and it's unfortunate because they've been raised to be that way, right? Even since the age of 2, like you can't, and same with the anti-Semites in America, right?
Yeah.
When I started speaking up like 4 years ago, I did it in reaction to my colleagues, other physicians.
What was happening 4 years ago?
It was the May 2021 conflict.
What was that? I don't even honestly
remember. It was
remember.
another, you know, conflict.
That was the March of Return? Is that what it was?
I don't know what they call it.
It
was in May. It was May 2021. There was some, you know, cross-border shooting and bombing and, genocide, apartheid, occupation.
They were calling it a genocide back then also.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't take long for them to jump there.
No, and it's just, you know.
I think Sam Harris, by the way, I don't know if you're familiar with his work. Sheila, if there's anyone who you would love listening to, it's Sam Harris.
Okay.
He has an ability to break it down, like the conflict, and just elucidate the difference in values and like exactly what's happening. Such a clear way. I mean, he's one of the more famous philosophers, you know, really of the last probably 20, 30 years. But he's incredible. You'd really enjoy it. But just the way, you know, one of the main points he said, which I found fascinating, was that the more crazy an action a Palestinian takes, the more the answer to that action is, they're under more intense oppression.
Right.
So if they kill 1,300 people, you don't understand how bad the oppression was that they were under. And that's the reason why they did it. If they kill 100,000 Jews, you don't understand. It was so bad.
Right.
It can't be that the answer is that they're just a bunch of murderers.
Right.
And, you know, like that option is out.
But see, that's the other like naivete / narcissism that goes back to that, right? They're trying to visualize why somebody would do that under the lens of what would make them do that.
Yeah.
Rather than, these people are raised to hate Jews.
Yeah. No,
you know, and their education system's different, their value system's different.
There's no way this is my opinion, there'll never ever be peace in the Gaza Strip until one of two things happen. Either a foreign government, such as Saudi or Jordan or Egypt, takes over the Gaza Strip and governs it, or we just get rid of the Palestinians. Like, those are the two options. If you want to call it ethnic cleansing, call it ethnic cleansing.
But
I don't really care.
But see,
Whatever
we just had this conversation. So what is ethnic cleansing? Where are they ethnically from?
Fine. I'm just saying.
No, but listen, for your audience, when
please.
people call it that, I think we really need to have this conversation because ethnically, you guys can all Google it. You know, Al-Masri, the ones that have that last name are from Egypt. That's what Al-Masri means. Or they're Jordanian from the West Bank, right? So that's not ethnic cleansing. Now somebody can say, okay, well, we're not from America. Does that mean we're not Americans? We're here. We're not calling ourselves refugees. So if they're from that land, why are they designated refugees? Right? So by their own language.
Either one or the other.
Yeah. Either that's your land and you're being ethnically cleansed, or you're refugees and you're not being ethnically cleansed. Which one is it?
I never heard anyone say that, actually. I got to think on that one. But at the end of the day, the world will... I was just making more a practical, like a matter-of-fact point.
The point is, either the education system, either they have to be militarily occupied and the education system controlled like we did with Nazi youth post-World War II.
This is an ideological thing. Nazi youth wasn't. This is a religious-based thing.
I understand that, but it's not... You can't really say that either. It's religious. I mean, you can, right, in that area because they're extremists, but there's Muslim countries that aren't like that. They have the same religion.
Yeah, but Nazis at the end of the day never had a component of martyrdom or any of that stuff. And I mean, you're just dealing with a very...
But
I feel like
it's
a
an
1,000 year...
education system.
Well, yeah, for sure. But the people at the top, you're always going to have your radicals in that. It's going to be very tough.
For sure.
I got to talk more on the plastic surgery thing, because that part to me is fascinating. It happens to me, I always feel that the Israel topic, I always want to talk about it because of course I want to, but it is at this point where we're like 16 months in. It just feels like it's never going to end.
Yes.
But it's terrible, really, really terrible. How much of an increase have you seen in your field? You've been doing it for how long now?
11 years.
Oh, you've only been doing it 11 years?
Post residency.
Oh, I was getting ready to ask you how much of a difference you saw before social media came into play.
I mean, I'll tell you, I got into, it was like Facebook when I came out, and Instagram was just starting, and I didn't understand why I needed to be on Instagram. But what I will tell you is the thing that I think made the biggest difference and still continues to make the biggest difference is SEO, right? And YouTube, because Google owns YouTube. So the reason why I got the show and so much free PR is I was one of the first plastic surgeons that actually made videos on YouTube. So when a reporter would go look up a surgery or a topic that they want an expert for, you know, when you search Google, it gives you a row of videos. I was the only one in the videos because I was the only one making videos. And so I got a ton of PR. I always wanted to do a show. I was a performer when I was younger. So it was like, never met a microphone I didn't like. And so that's kind of how it led to, you know, all the success really was just being able to speak in a way that people could understand and breaking down procedures and...
How much of an increase do you think there's been in like people wanting work done since social media came into play? I mean, as opposed to 20 years ago, and now obviously social media and you have... the whole crisis of self-esteem.
I don't think it's that for me. I'll tell you, okay, this is the thing I want your listeners to understand about like as any kind of business. What you put out there is what you attract. So I always put out natural results. I always put out intelligence. I always put out ethics. And so the patient population that I always attracted wanted normal results. They don't want to look crazy. They don't ask for crazy procedures. They're normal people that I would like talk to socially, right? So I think that what I've noticed is not so much an increase in like, people wanting social media people wanting plastic surgery because of social media. It's more people are starting younger as a preventative. And also it's become normalized to talk about. When I came out, people wouldn't even admit they were getting Botox. Now it's like, you don't get Botox? You're weird. It's like putting on
Do you think that's a good
cream.
thing?
I think that starting younger is a good thing. I do.
Why?
Because looking at the people in my own generation, I'm 45 years old. The people that tend to look younger in my age group, someone told them to start when they were in their late 20s. Whether their mother worked for a plastic surgeon or whether she was an esthetician, somebody gave them that little tidbit of advice to start preventative and to start good, high quality skincare products younger. And I think that will actually ward off surgery to a later time point if you start with the preventative when you're younger in your 20s.
Is there a point where if you're doing it under the guise of preventative where you're doing too much of it that it could actually have a reverse effect?
I think...
So if you're starting young and, there's people doing, obviously, at this point, a lot. So...
No, I think that, it's hard to say people are doing a lot. I think you have to do what's appropriate for your genetics. And the way I'll put it is imagine you hire a painter to paint your office and you tell him, I want you to just use 1 gallon of paint. You never say that. He could need 100 gallons of paint to do a good job. It doesn't mean that he used too much paint. It just means he got the job done and it looks good. Right? So for example, I have filler like all over my face. I have like temples, lips, under my eyes, cheeks, my laugh lines, my marionette lines, my entire jaw. But, that could be a lot. But to me, it's just what was necessary to keep my face up so that I don't need a facelift.
Right.
So as long as it looks normal
It's look natural.
and it looks natural, it's not about a lot. It's about the aesthetic and skill of the person doing it to you. And I always tell people, if the person injecting you or doing surgery on you looks crazy, you're about to look crazy too, because that's their aesthetic.
That's their look. That's their feel.
That's what they find attractive and normal.
It's like going over to an artist and asking them to paint something that make like a new piece of art you're saying effectively, and you look at their other art. If it looks retarded, you're going to get that. Very interesting. So you don't get any crazy requests?
Like, almost never.
Are you dealing with top of the line celebrities? I feel like you are.
I am. And it's not just celebrities. It's really intelligent people at the top of their game in whatever field they're in, whether it's real estate or politics or entertainment. I don't need a social life because I'm socializing with like the best, most intelligent people all day.
That's probably awesome. You probably have like great conversations.
It's like
you're like removing their cheek, and you're like,
okay, so I'm like literally pitching a show that's like that right now, where I'm doing awake procedures on like these kinds of people, and we're talking about, social issues and politics. Because that's literally my life. Like, everyone knows what I think. I'm very open about what I think on my social media. So everybody who comes to me already knows who I am. I don't have to tippy-toe. I don't have to walk on eggshells. I have open and honest conversations with people who agree or disagree with me all day long. I learn from them. They learn from me. I never get bored. I don't get burned out. Because trust me, after doing your like 1,000th surgery, it's not interesting anymore.
Really?
Right? It's the people that are interesting. It's the surgery's not challenging anymore.
Interesting. It's not like each person has their own like specific things they need done, which make the surgeries slightly different.
Yeah, but it's very technical.
You're doing it in your sleep.
It's like saying to a car mechanic, okay, this person bumped their bumper this way, and this person hit the car in front of them this way, and their bumper is a little bit slightly dented.
Same bumper.
It's a bumper.
Same nose.
I don't do noses, but yes.
You don't do noses. You got it. All right, everybody, want to take a quick second to give a big shout out to our sponsor for this episode, CubX. CubX is, as far as I'm concerned, the #1 IT provider for businesses, whether that be big or small, real estate, healthcare, finance, e-commerce, apparel. It does not matter. These guys have it on lock. I know this because I personally use them, and I've referred these guys to probably 10 different friends of mine who are all running both small or large businesses, and they've all come back to me and have given me rave reviews about these guys and thanked me profusely for sending them their way. So if you want to get ahead and focus on the things that make you money and not be busy for hours when a tech issue comes up, give these guys a call. They have changed the game and most importantly have changed the IT experience for those who use them. Their customer support is off the charts. I can personally attest to this. One ring, they pick up, and you're dealing with an experienced tech who knows what's up. Feel free to test it. If you're starting a new company or are unhappy with your current IT provider and are looking for the best product out there, take it from me. This is a no-brainer choice. Give these guys a call. You can reach them at 732-444-8771 and choose sales when following the prompts. Or you can reach out via email at hello@cubx.com. That's HELLO@CUBX.com. You can also check them out at CubX.com. That's CUBX.com. Now back to our episode. Are you more frequently doing surgery than you are?
I'm half and half. So I do surgery 2 days a week, and I do spa 1 to 2 days a week. I have other people there as well. And then I do a lot of podcasting and planning and shows 1 day a week.
Interesting. What's the biggest misconception about this industry?
I think the biggest misconception is that you're going to look crazy or you're going to look fake, because it's a double-edged sword. People that look normal, you're just like, oh, they look so good. People that look crazy, you're like, oh my God, plastic surgery makes you look crazy.
So you think it's really a false pretense? The idea, like you'll hear commonly from people, plastic surgery is terrible, like don't go near it.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do my show, because I wanted to show people the real reason why people get plastic surgery. I wanted to show them that plastic surgery can be dignified.
Hold on, does that mean that most plastic surgeons just suck?
No, I think it's just aesthetic. I mean, some do suck, and just like some real estate agents suck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the outcome is not the building looking insane or the person looking insane. It's just they don't make money. No, meaning, obviously, you were saying, right, we were talking before about how someone, if someone looks crazy, you're going to end up looking crazy, right?
Yeah.
So the perception people have of plastic surgery, being, you could get, have total botched up, outcome, and there's a decent amount of that, obviously we see that builds up that idea.
Well, the other problem with that you have to understand is in America, everybody gets a physician's and surgeon's license. So even if you're a family medicine doctor, your medical license looks just like my license, even though I was in school maybe 8 more years learning how to be a surgeon. The reason for that is sometimes farm country, for example, will have one physician in a 500-mile radius. That physician's delivering babies, that physician's sewing things up, that physician is giving you your Tylenol. They have to do everything. They're the only physician around. So we all get the same license. So for example, you'll see physicians calling themselves cosmetic surgeons or aesthetic surgeons or plastic surgeons, and maybe they're not even trained as a surgeon. I've seen pediatricians.
So people are just going to...
I've seen pediatricians performing liposuction.
Really?
Yes, not well. So you really have to be careful of who you're getting. And unfortunately, the news, when something goes wrong, will say this person got plastic surgery and died. But it wasn't a plastic surgeon.
Are you able to tell immediately if someone has gotten work?
Usually, yes.
It's like Tom Brady, let's just say. How much work has that guy done?
I mean, I haven't looked at him very carefully. I'm not like a huge, but he's very attractive, right?
So then why are you not looking at him? So you're married.
I don't know. I'm just I don't know. I feel like I have more important things on my mind, and I'm married, and
I guess I'm a guy.
My husband's very attractive, so I'm good. But these guys that are specifically in the limelight so much, there's a lot of pressure to look a certain way, and so they do get a lot of things done.
It's very interesting what you were just saying before about cosmetic surgeon, like people doing surgeries that really don't belong.
No, they don't, and it's very sad. It's dangerous.
Are there other countries? I know a lot of people, let's say, go to Turkey for hair transplants, right? There's certain very common things. Are there other countries that are doing this type of stuff that are really that good that people should feel comfortable? Or it's like, whenever I go to Israel, for example, and I get sick, I just think I'm gonna die because there's no doctors here, so I'm dead. So I feel a certain sense of safety when I'm in America. I could be, there's actually medical. So I'm saying, then I hear people going to get a hair transplant in Turkey. I'm like, dude, you're gonna come back with no hair, bro. What are you doing?
I think certain things are very technical, and I think hair transplant, the device will do a lot of stuff for you. So while I don't know, certain clinics, or while I don't know the sterility or the amount of training those people have had, I mean, I've heard that in some clinics there's so much demand, they're literally going and finding people off the street and being like, let me train you to be a hair tech, and you can do it too.
Wow.
Right? So again, I think, and I don't know if I'm seeing the people that have been botched, right? Because those are the only people that come and see me, right? So
Do you get people that show up that have had totally botched and they're coming to you to fix?
Yes.
Do you ask them who did this?
I typically ask them what country it was done in, or if it's somebody that I know, if they volunteer, I always encourage them to go back and see that doctor. And did you tell him what happened? Did you tell them you're unhappy? Did you show them this? Sometimes they'll be like, yes, I went back, but I really have lost trust, and I really like it if you did it for me. But I always try to encourage, especially if it's a colleague, for the patient to go back and see their original doctor and give them a chance to remedy, because I think that's a professional thing to do.
God, I would never go back. If someone if I went in for a nose job and my nose came out sideways, I'd be like, I'm not going back to this guy. Hell with that. Yeah. Are there times, I assume you could botch something up bad enough that it's not fixable?
So that's actually what our boards are about. So when we take our oral boards, they'll show us a case and they'll be like, what would you do to fix this? And then you say, oh, I would do this. They'd be like, okay, you did it, it died. What's next? And so plastic surgeons, our training is to not just know what I'm going to do first, but what's my plan A, plan B, and plan C. And I think that's what's so different about plastic surgery training is we have a really broad base of training. So we have to learn craniofacial, which means I fixed orbital fractures, I fixed skull fractures, I fixed jaw fractures. So when I come to do filler on a jaw, I know what that anatomy looks like. When I come to do an eyelid surgery, I know what that anatomy looks like. Even when I'm doing filler injections to the nose, I've done nose surgery, so I know where I would put a nose, tip graft, for example. So I know where I want that filler to go to mimic a tip graft. So, we've done burn surgery, that's ICU. We've done microsurgery, taking a muscle off of something and hooking it up someplace else and creating a breast after a mastectomy. And I think, the pediatric surgery, cleft lip, cleft palate, like all this stuff. It's such a broad base of training that we have that it's almost
not just boobs and like
and cosmetic is just
people.
one.
But I mean, you're doing important actual.
I think if you watch my show on Netflix, you'll change what you just said too. Because I think, like for example, the first episode, this woman was shot by her husband. And then the husband killed their 2 daughters and killed himself, and she survived. So that's the first case. It's cosmetic, fixing her bullet hole scars.
Of course. Yeah.
Or the woman that had quadruplets, and her stomach is so splayed apart and her body is so wrecked that she hasn't slept with her husband in 2 years.
Right.
That could ruin a marriage.
Yeah, for sure.
And you have 4 kids.
Yeah.
So doing, just a tummy tuck and some breast surgery or whatever I did can help save a marriage, that saved a family. So I wouldn't, I think the better of a reconstructive surgeon you are, that helps you in aesthetics, and the better of an aesthetic surgeon you are, it helps you in reconstruction. I think they're married, and I think they both have incredible value.
Very cool. This is very interesting to me because, first of all, obviously, with what you just said, in cases where people are saving, marriages, etc., but there is such a strong stigma surrounding the field. That's what's,
But I think
so
that's what my show did. I mean, it was Emmy nominated for a reason, right? It really changed the way that people view plastic surgery. It was the first show that didn't, not like make fun of the patient, but a lot of shows kind of, it's entertainment. Our show was really docu-style. What is the real reason? What are the emotions behind people that are getting plastic surgery?
Yeah, they're suffering.
What's the story?
First of all, anyone who's getting plastic surgery, in my opinion, is suffering to a degree.
No, not really. My patients aren't, I wouldn't say suffering at all.
I mean, I shouldn't say everyone. No one?
No.
Someone, whether it's anxiety, whether it's insecurity about their looks, whether
it's not even insecurity. It's more like, I've eaten well, I've exercised as much as I can, my skin is still hanging, and my stomach muscles are splayed. I can't do anything about it. It's giving me back pain. I need your help.
No, for sure. But
that's more of the conversation.
There's a degree. I'm just saying, no, for sure. But within that, there's a degree of unhappiness and uncomfortability and...
No.
Not at all? Then why are they showing up?
I mean, not always, right? I think... for example, if you go get LASIK surgery for your eyes,
I did it.
Were you unhappy?
I was unhappy that.
But you weren't unhappy, like depressed.
Right? No, I'm not saying depressed. But
I think the same unhappiness and the same level of unhappiness you feel is the same as my patients.
Got it.
It's not, I'm depressed, I'm insecure, I'm so sad, I'm crying. And
I mean, by the way,
it's literally like, I can't fix this myself. I don't like putting on my glasses. It's annoying. I'm thinking about it all the time, or like at least 3 times a week. And I this is just something I can do to improve my quality of life. So I just don't have to think about this one thing anymore. That's more of the conversations I'm having.
Got it. That was a great surgery. That was a very, very good surgery.
And that's exactly the same reaction my patients have.
I've told every single person I know to get LASIK. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
No, it happens to be I would have done contacts,
right?
But I have very dry eyes, so contacts just never worked. After 4 hours, I was always they're falling out. It was just disaster.
And same with my patients. They're like, I could wear Spanx, but it's just annoying. Sometimes it's hot outside, and I don't want to wear Spanx. I just want to fix it.
Totally hear that. But the surgery was really, really awesome because I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Ever since I got it, it's just like a no-brainer. And
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the same thing I tell my patients. If it's something that you're thinking about more than 3 times a week, I want you to just not have to think about that anymore. You have way more important things to do. You have way more important lives to affect around you. Why don't we just take that brain, like fog or whatever, that brain energy, and take it away and give it to something else that's more important.
Sure, yeah.
And that's literally the same conversation.
Where does the line of work that gets done cross we're dealing with an epidemic at the end of the day in the world we are. I feel like, especially with social media, of like a self-esteem issue, especially with kids, right? We're definitely seeing that. Do you ever have any internal conflict of like how the plastic surgery world plays into that?
I have 3 kids, 3 teenagers, and I feel like the best thing to do is delay giving them the phone.
Yeah.
Get them flip phones. Like delay giving them the phone.
How's that conversation go?
No, I mean, I did it for a really long time, and now they have phones. But also it's about building up your kids, building up their self-esteem. Oh my God, when I was growing up, I was so skinny. I was like fresh off the boat. I had a mustache. We weren't allowed to shave our legs because that meant you were going to be promiscuous. Yeah, all the stuff. And so, but I got teased in school. No boy ever showed interest, I think, until like senior year of high school, I would say. But my mom was always like, you're so beautiful. You're so smart. So I think that.
Did you think you were that, or you didn't feel that way and you just had your mom telling you that?
I didn't feel that way in school, but you hear your parents, even if you think your kids aren't listening to you, they are. And I think for me as a parent, that was a really important lesson and really great modeling. So yes, there's so many things now that can lead your kids astray, but nothing is as powerful as a parent's voice.
Yeah. Parenting has become super underrated, I think.
And I have to tell
think it's the
you,
most important thing.
Oh, for sure. And I think, this whole tikkun olam thing that the Ashkenaz, people have
latched onto.
Yeah, latched onto. It's like heal the world. Well, it's like, no, you heal your home. You heal your home. Then if that's good, then you can heal your community, your own community. And if that's good, then you have the, wherewithal to go heal the world. But you can't heal the world when your own home is in shambles.
There's a common misconception there that people think if you're focused on yourself, then you're being selfish. I think there's like a big aspect that it's like, no, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people. Like if you're not good, you're not going to.
That's right. Like I just got this humanitarian award from my community in LA, which was lovely. And everybody keeps coming up to me being like, thank you for what you do. Thank you for, what you do for our community. Thank you, whatever. So I get up there, and right before I get up again, people are like, thank you. And I get up there and I said, I'm giving my speech. And I finally said, don't thank me. I didn't do it for you. I did it for my kids. Oh. And that's the whole point. You change the world how you want to change the world for your own kids. And it will have ripple effects. It will have positive ripple effects to your community and to the world.
So effectively what you're saying is at the end of the day, there's going to be a limitless amount of exterior, things happening in the world. And it's not about any one field. At the end of the day, it's the parenting that really matters.
Yes.
If it's not you being the plastic surgeon, there's going to be 8 billion more plastic surgeons.
That's
and
right.
If it's not plastic surgery, there's going to be.
Yeah, if I wasn't a plastic surgeon, trust me, all my patients could choose from a million other plastic surgeons to go to.
Yeah, I was just curious.
My kids have one mother.
Yeah.
And so they're going to come first. And if you want to heal the country, you start by raising solid kids.
Yeah. For me, I was just more. I always wonder about people's internal conflicts. I guess maybe because I have a lot of my own. So I'm just curious how.
You're projecting?
No, I'm just curious. I think everyone does to a degree.
Yeah.
Like we all have our own mind and we're all always thinking and trying, even people that claim to, so to speak, and it looks like they're not and everything's, and then at the end of the day, everyone puts their head to the pillow and has, their own questions. So this is a particular field. Like you're very clearly a very wholesome person. Like you think. At least it seems that way. Yeah. So because of that, so you're in the limelight. You're really in a celebrity space big time. You yourself are a celebrity. Like you really are. You're an actor. I mean, you did Emmy-nominated show. You really are there. So I'm just curious how people like you in your space, like how that works. Like when you kind of everything dies down and you're by yourself, like what that thought process is like. That's really why I was just asking it.
I am who I am right in front of you on social media. To my kids, I'm the same exact person because I just think it takes so much energy to be fake.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, the biggest case in point in that is I thought I was going to lose everything when I started speaking up for Israel and when I started, defending Jews. And within my first post, I lost 3,000 followers in 30 minutes. And I said, you know what? I gotta do what I gotta do for my own kids.
I was gonna ask if you lost any very big opportunities because of it.
Probably, but I've gotten and gained a ton of opportunities because of what I did. But I'm telling you, I didn't think that was gonna happen. I thought I was just gonna lose everything.
That must have been very scary.
It was very scary. It was the first time in my life I had anxiety. And I mean, I lost my mom when I was 16. Like, I escaped from Iran. And so I've been through some stuff. But it was the first time in my life that I was getting threats, and somebody sent a pig's hoof to my office, and my staff. Yeah, it was like, it's one thing to threaten me. It's another thing to scare my staff, right? Because they didn't sign up for this. I mean, now they kind of did.
How many people work for you now?
I have 12 in the office, and then people outside of the office. So, God bless them. But I think that, as a Persian girl, you're always taught to like not rock the boat and just get the straight A's and be patted on the head and told what a good girl you are.
Total firecrackers.
I think I think that maybe is, it's not certainly Iranian culturally. It was not what we were taught, I'll tell you that. But I think it's gotten to the point where there's too much to lose.
Is there like a rubber band effect? Like some people were just too constrained, and once you had the opportunity to just do your thing, you just went?
That definitely wasn't why I did it. I did it because I was in survival mode, and I did it for my kids and for the life that they would, and the world that they would have to live in. We lost everything. Like, we lived in a 3-story marble house in Iran. We left everything and came here with nothing. My dad had to ride his bike to the public library to study, to take his boards again so he could just get a job. So we had a great life, left everything behind because we actually thought our lives were at stake, right? Now you hear all these celebrities with Trump being elected being like, I'm leaving. Okay, go. It's
a real mental illness. I'm not I was speaking with someone yesterday who was telling me there are people crying the day after Trump.
Yeah.
That they were so scared he was America's ending.
But that's propaganda. It's brainwashing. They've never met Trump.
No, they haven't. But
it's what they've seen
But
and heard.
If you listen to what he's saying, he never ever says any of the things that they're talking about.
But they'll take a clip which makes it sound like,
I guess if you just don't listen to anything, but to
They
the point that they're
don't.
crying, they're in actual hysteria. They're in tears.
But it's because of all the fear mongering that was done by the left to just try to secure a vote.
So intense. What do you tell someone who's what would be a piece of advice for someone first time they're going for plastic surgery?
I would say make sure your plastic surgeon is actually a plastic surgeon. You can go on the Board of Plastic Surgery's website and search your surgeon and make sure they're actually a plastic surgeon.
As opposed to what, a cosmetic pediatric?
Yeah, as opposed to not a plastic surgeon. If and you can go to whoever you want, but at least be an informed consumer. I would look at before and afters and make sure their aesthetic matches your aesthetic. And there's a lot of stuff you can do pre and post surgery that help you heal a lot safer and faster.
Should I get a hair transplant? I've been talking about this. I need to fill my driveways. What do you think?
If it bothers you, yeah.
No, it doesn't really bother me. I was just gonna do it on a random Sunday. Just go to my friend got it, and it was
it's great. I think it's great.
My friend needed it, and he went to the guy that did Dave Portnoy's hair.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever saw a pre of Dave. He was he has awesome hair now. Whatever. I mean,
yeah.
Shock. He's also worth $100 million. But
yeah.
Anyways, so my friend went to Boston. Dave's from Boston, so there's doctors in Boston.
Yeah.
And he looks fucking awesome. This random man. I'm like, dude, get out. And I'm like, so all of a sudden I came home, look at my hair, and I'm like, I think I'm doing this.
You should do it. I think it's.
I don't
think
need
it's
to,
great.
But I might.
No, listen. Nobody needs anything we do.
Yeah, I guess. No, but there's differences in there are differences in needs and wants. It
depends on your priorities and your aesthetic, right?
No, what I mean to say is a woman whose sex life is being affected because of the fact that she had triplets.
Right.
That's a totally different world than, Label filling in his little driveways.
Yeah.
I'll be okay,
No, yeah. I mean, it's, I just think of something safe and you're thinking about it more than 3 times a week. Then you should.
Yeah, I'm out of the 3 times a week yet. I'm a once a month on this.
Okay.
Then once every 2 weeks. No, it's increased.
It's increased. Okay, well, we're getting there.
We're getting there. We're almost there. But I don't I'm very random with these things. I'll just find the best person, pay the $25K or whatever it is, and just call it a day, and just get it done. That would be my.
I charge under $10K. So
for here?
Yeah.
You do here?
Yeah.
I would go to you in a heartbeat.
Come. We'll have a good time. Oh my God, it would be so much fun. We can talk politics the whole time.
We'll do a real docuseries. Come on.
It's fun.
The mislabeled hair transplant.
There you go.
What procedure nowadays do you think is very overrated that people are doing?
Overrated. Well, thank God I think big breasts are out. So the big breast implants are no longer. I think massive butts are out. I think that a more athletic figure is really in right now, especially in LA. I know, which has always been my aesthetic. So I feel like I'm like living my prime. I think any trendy procedure is out. And the way that I want people to think about their bodies is like, let's say you want to buy a couch for your house. You want to buy a very neutral couch and then you can change the pillows, but you don't want to go buy a paisley couch.
That's it for 1 year or 2 years. And
That's for 1 year or 2 years. And then, you got to throw out you can throw out your couch, but you can't throw out your body. So I would say keep your body looking very athletic and proportional, and you can change your clothes.
I hear that. That's a good way of putting it. Are there ever times people come to you that you just say, like, this is so not needed, and like you feel that way, and therefore you won't do anything?
I think at this point in my career, people know me so well that they come to me and they're like, what do you think? Tell me everything that you see. And the way that I look at it is very much like diagnosis and treatment. So just like you would go to your doctor, he would do some tests and be like, oh, you have high blood pressure. We treat it like this. Or, oh, you have a little extra, fat around your gut. Let's change your diet or whatever it is. That's how I look at plastic surgery. It's very much diagnosis and treatment. So I'll let them know. And I always tell them, I'm going to tell you everything that I see. It's very like technical, right? There's no judgment here. It's very technical. And then you can be like, you know what? I don't care about that. Not a priority. And I'm not going to get offended. Or you can be like, oh my God, I didn't even know that existed. Thank you for telling me. So when they come to me, I tell them, everything in a very like technical way. And then we come up with a plan based off of sort of what's a priority to them or what is bothering them or what is going to make them look more natural.
How much are you practicing right now?
I mean, I'm full-time.
Still, but you're all over the place.
I know.
So how do you do it? And you have the kids. How does that
know.
work?
So I try to involve my kids as much as possible. Like I took them to inauguration with me. I take them to plastic surgery conferences sometimes with me. When I go on Fox News, I'll take them, with me to watch.
Really?
Yeah,
How
so I
old are
try
they
to
now?
involve them. They're 17, 16, and 13.
Oh, wow.
And they're lovely and smart and
They
funny and great. Yeah, super smart. So I try to involve them. But at the same time, not like a helicopter parent. I'm kind of like a safety net parent. So I let them do their thing. I trust them. But if I feel like I need to intervene, I will. But most of the time, they're just taking care of their own grades. They're taking care of their own schedules. My son just started driving. My daughter's getting...
That's old for LA.
16. No, he's 16.
Oh, the 17. I thought you were talking about the 17-year-old.
The 17-year-old is applying to colleges right now.
So when I was 15, I was in LA. I was in Valley Torah.
Yeah.
You know Valley Torah for a
Yeah,
little bit?
I do.
So, of course, I landed up there. Different time, different story, whatever. But in New York, you couldn't drive... Because I don't know if you know me at all. I cannot sit still for even a second. School is not my thing. Okay, let's just say it that way. So I landed up in LA at 15. I'm in 10th grade. And I was dying for a car, since I was 13. I'm like, I can't get anywhere, and my parents, of course, weren't. I'm one of 10, so they were busy with every other kid.
Of course,
just driving me mad. So I was in LA, and I show up there, and all my friends are busy. I actually skipped a grade when I was younger, so all my friends were 16. They were driving around in
so
nice
you just started
cars,
driving,
and their parents were wealthy.
Yeah,
and they're just like, all right, we'll take the wheel. So I learned how to drive young. I was like 15. That was a good time, and I got, of course, my, I made sure to get my license. I made sure to skip the, play it right that I could drive as early as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, driving in LA is a whole different. It was good. I
think it's easier than New York.
Way easier.
Yeah.
You don't have to parallel park first of all in LA.
You do.
You do?
Yeah, it's part of the driving test actually.
What are you parallel parking for over there?
I mean, there's when you're parking.
I guess a little bit, but
yeah.
It's actually funny because one of my best friends, I taught him how to drive. So I was 16. I had my license.
Yeah.
He was a little older than me. Well, he was younger actually, but we were in Florida. Maybe I was 17 at the time. Anyways, I taught him how to drive. I kid you not, he'd never driven a car. I just had a rental. He starts driving. 1 hour later, we walk into the DMV.
Yeah.
In Florida.
Yeah.
You drive in a parking lot. You do not need to parallel park. He walked out with his license. This guy is driving. He's at a total. He's
1 hour.
He's on the 95 driving at 70 miles an hour.
Oh,
This guy hasn't driven more
God.
than an hour in his life. Actually, that's not a.
No. In LA, they make you do a certain number of hours with the driving school, and you have to take a test. So they don't. Yeah, you can't do that.
A little more regulated, which I'm not surprised about at all.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the politics there?
You know, I'm in the Persian community, and so I think I feel very supported by my immediate community.
What area do you live in?
Bel Air,
you're in
and I
Bel Air.
practice in Beverly Hills.
Got it.
But it's changed a lot after the LA fires. I'm hearing a lot more, even like the MSNBC crowd is talking about how our governance is so poor and we need a
finally.
change. Yeah, so there's actually a lot of Republicans in Los Angeles. In fact, if they all voted, California would flip red. So,
You're telling me that there's a lot of Republicans that don't go and vote, and therefore
correct, because they've been taught, just like in New York, that their vote doesn't count. So me and some other people are trying to show people, no, your vote does count. Not just in local elections, but in elections,
Yeah.
and the popular vote, if nothing else. But again, the data recently with the number of people that have switched Republican,
LA.
we could totally flip California right. And people forget when Schwarzenegger was governor, he was a Republican. So it's not been that long that California's been blue.
LA, California in general, if you look at the last 4 elections, has gone more and more progressively Republican.
Yeah.
When Obama was running in 2008, I think he won it like 78, if I recall, like 70-30, roughly. Already at this point with Trump, it's 60-40. Like it's been very much, I know this because I was studying all this stuff before the election because I was like figuring stuff, whatever. I made a bet, so I was figuring out what was the trend of everything, where it was going. So I think LA is, and New York for that matter as well, like Trump came to New York multiple times because he kept on saying, and I think he's right, like there are so many people just fed up. I don't understand why people keep on voting for this Newsom dude. Like he is a cancer.
You know what I'm realizing?
cancer.
Listen, what I'm realizing is the Democratic Party just wants zombies, for lack of a better word. Somebody that's just going to be a placeholder, is not going to challenge what the unelected bureaucrats and their agenda is. So if you look at Kamala, she could barely speak.
That was the craziest
right?
thing of the whole time.
Karen Bass, our mayor of Los Angeles, placeholder. Newsom,
Who's running the show?
Who is running the show?
Well, Newsom, I disagree with you on as far as like him just being a placeholder. I agree that maybe there's someone puppeting a little bit, but he's
a placeholder. He doesn't even know half the stuff that's happening. Literally, like it was
great,
like,
but he could get out a sentence and he's a sleazeball. He could sleaze his way to the
I'm
presidency.
telling you, the other day he was like, with the homeless population, he's like, what's going on with the homeless population? We're like, what are you talking
Did he go
about?
out and start throwing things in the garbage?
Like literally, yeah, we've been screaming about this for years. You just noticed that there's like a worsening homeless population.
I can't stand him. My blood, by the way, starts boiling when I see him on. I see someone who is lying. Like I see an evil person.
They all lie.
Newsom has something about him. I can't. It's like an Obama-esque type thing. I can't. I don't know.
He's slick.
Yeah, he will look you right in the eye and he won't even blink and look aside for a second, which would like call his lie. He will literally lie to your face. Like I'm looking, and they
tell you what you want to hear just for the vote.
So you saw that thing when he was standing outside his car, and they're like,
yeah,
he's like,
I'm on the phone with
I'm on the
Biden
phone,
right
and then he goes,
now.
let me see your phone. I'm calling him now.
Yeah.
He's so full of shit.
Yeah.
I hate him.
Yeah.
And I think, by the way, that if he were to be the nominee, but if you say no, I don't think you should be
I hope he is.
I think you're mistaken how many Americans would fall for it. We had 48% of Americans vote for Kamala. Can we just establish that?
Yeah.
He won by 1.6 percentage points. It was a mandate in a sense and a very convincing defeat, no question, because he won all the swing states and everything, and it was clear that ultimately he was the winner.
Yeah, but you have to understand that if you look at the map, it's literally the coast is blue, and the coast is blue.
Yeah, but the middle states are won by 20,000 votes.
No, I know, but you're saying like
the blue wall is 20,000 votes.
I understand that, but you're saying like, oh, the majority of whatever. It's just that the majority of people live in these like on the coasts.
For sure.
Right?
I agree with you. But let's say Newsom theoretically is president, or if you had someone that wasn't a cucumber in their brain running for the Democratic Party or a tomato in their head, we don't know what the exact outcome would be. Kamala was such a bad candidate. Like there's levels of being bad. I mean, the fact she was ever a candidate is
embarrassing.
Beyond. Like I've been saying for a while now, if you go back and look who the Dems have put up over the last really 12 years, ever since Obama's been gone, they have not had a normal, it's been terrible. They had Hillary, who was like the best in like since Obama, obviously. And even she was highly disliked and she lost. Like she had and they had Biden and you have Kamala. I mean, they had 12 years to come up with someone normal. They haven't been able to. So,
But I'm telling you is they just want a placeholder. So they got
I hear.
Biden.
So
They
who's
got
running the
Biden. People that are getting money. So I think all of this stuff is going to start to come out. Who's running the show? Let's see where the money's going, and we'll have our answer.
You're saying Trump is doing that right now, like uncovering the money.
Yeah, uncovering the money.
They're going.
Follow the money.
They
You
are
want to know
going.
who's running the show? Follow the money.
So you don't go Obama. You're not saying Obama.
I mean, we know Chelsea Clinton got like how much money?
Yeah, $5 million or something.
No, way more, like 83 mil.
Oh, it was 83 million.
83,
I
84
can keep
mil.
track. I'm sure it keeps on adding
Yeah.
up. As we...
Why is Chelsea Clinton getting millions of dollars?
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be a secret though that the Clintons are running things. Like, I don't think anyone would be surprised by that. That's
what I'm saying. We just have to follow the money.
Yeah, what's going on right now with Elon? I love Elon Musk.
He's
Can I
great.
just say that? I love
He's
Elon
great.
Musk.
Me too.
I think some of this comes down to, if you're a Democrat, like I hear people saying about how Elon has all his own agendas because he has all these big companies and he's being government funded, blah, blah, blah. Like, I could see how, if you were a Democrat,
Right.
why you would think this. And like,
But
I
it's
could've-
just,
but
it's
I
just
just trust
funny.
him. I don't know how to explain
No,
it.
but it's just funny. Like they don't say that about like Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, she wins every single trade she does by like a billion %.
Right. So
crazy.
I just think it's very hypocritical.
No, it is. But at the end of the day, there's just, I'd like to believe that there's a way to identify someone who's just an honest person and
But they're not
means
gonna
good.
do that.
I actually think Elon is someone that
I do
actually
too.
wants the best thing. I don't think he's a selfish person by nature. His whole entire thing is humanity.
I agree.
The guy lives in a trailer to survive. Like,
You know, he's sleeping on the
the
floor.
floor. I saw that, but I'm
Yeah.
saying he doesn't even care about his own. He's just in his own quacked way, actually. Like, just wants to send us to Mars. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
stop. Let me stay on Earth, please. Okay, thanks. You know, but like, I actually think he just wants America to be, and I just have that faith. Like, there's a piece to that so I could kind of see how they have their problem with it.
It's like he doesn't need it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what does he need this freaking headache for?
What does he need the headache for?
Well,
That's
they'll
why
give you a
trust
reason.
him.
Well, they'll tell you. But it's also just a sense. And we know it's pissing me off now, people coming out and saying that he's anti-Semitic. Whenever I hear this, I freaking hate that. Like,
It's just lies.
But the people that do that, no, but there are Jews that come out and say
I
these
know, but
things.
they're the like
It does us
Trump
such a
derangement.
disservice.
It does. It does.
It's like, what are you doing? Like,
Exactly.
you know? It's like this guy has been so pro-Israel. Like, he likes Jewish people. And then
He's been wearing like a bring them home.
for like a year plus, like ever
necklace.
since it happened.
Yeah.
And then you have these motherfuckers going on, they're sorry my language, but they go on his platform and they have free speech rights because of him. And they go sit there and tag him saying you're an anti-Semite. There's a big account that just did it yesterday. I was
Well,
like,
I make sure that I use my account to be like, thank you, Doge, thank you, Elon Musk. And you know, the number of people who like those posts and share those posts is, you know, I try to like be the antidote.
yeah, I went like pretty intense against, there was like some rabbi or something that wrote a whole thing after he did the salute
Yeah.
business. Which is
Yeah.
like, I love how people, they could see something like for their entire life go one direction. He could get up and say, I love Israel. And then the
Yeah.
salute happens and one thing goes contrary to that, he must be an anti-Semite.
Yeah, exactly.
So this person was writing, well, I don't know if you are or I don't think you are. Please just confirm this for everyone. And I just replied, I like quoted it. I just wrote, no, that's like extremely offensive to have like ask someone to confirm that they're not a racist, bigoted anti-Semite.
Right.
Like, why can't we just assume that like trust our gut? Like this man has been a certain way for as long as we've seen it. Why would it all of a sudden change? You know. But I think we have this.
Well, I think it just goes to show you how easily influenced people are, number one, right? But I noticed this years ago. I noticed how easily influenced people are. So I decided to grow my platform as big as I can to influence them in the opposite direction.
You have a big following. What do you have? 850 I saw before this.
850 just on Instagram, yeah, on one account on Instagram.
Killing me. I'm like this loser with like 41,000.
No,
followers.
I think that's a lot, you know. And it used to be, it was close to 1 million before I started like the activism.
Oh.
But you know, you kind of hone your tribe, and thankfully with the show, I'm constantly getting new people that maybe have never even met a Jew. You know, so it's a great privilege and a great opportunity, really.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know anything. And this is something I realized about Jews. Like they just don't know, like middle America, they've never even seen one. They don't even know what the hell we're talking about. And,
Right.
like, they just have these, you know, and that's why I think it's such a, like, there are so many stupid small things we can do to help our case. And I say this all the time, not to say I'm some amazing person, but like if I'm in a random store and I could just hold the door open,
Right.
like I'm wearing my gear, it's the dumbest thing, and I'll hold it open, I'll let them walk first.
Yeah.
Just to make that stupid inference, like I know what's going on around me in the world, everyone hates us, and I have right now have this opportunity for this person to either go home and be like, oh, that's a nice Jewish person. That's just the thought that's gonna automatically go through his mind. That's a nice
And honestly, I just want to like call out what you said a little bit. We said like everyone hates us. No, actually the majority doesn't hate us. You know, it might be a loud minority that does, but actually we're in a position right now where the majority doesn't hate us. And so that's why we have to, you know, pass as many laws and like do as many things as we can, because I think that our kids are not going to have this percentage of people that don't hate us.
I think it's going to be worse.
I think it's going to be worse. So I think that, you know, it's very incumbent upon us to use this opportunity.
I mean, at the very least, we could reaffirm the people that don't hate us also, or people that are in the middle, the independents. You know, so all these stupid little things, I think they make a big difference. I mean, in fairness, 20% of America supports Hamas.
Right. But that means 80% doesn't.
Okay. Do you know what 20%? Just in fairness, I agree the numbers are, but let's just spell out 20% is. It's over 65 million people.
Right.
But
it's only
that is scary.
But that number's going to get worse is what I'm saying. So right now we have, you know, the majority is sane. And so
I'm with you.
We have to make sure that we're as loud as we can be now.
Absolutely.
We don't have the luxury of waiting and passing this on to our children.
I mean, I think there's, and then there's the idea that we think, you know this, but we don't know this, us in America, including myself, that regimes and countries, they fall.
Oh, yeah.
But if you talk to any American that isn't from Iran and didn't experience what you did, it's inconceivable to think that. It's like we're going to be here forever. Like America's never going down.
Exactly.
It's like, no, every single country and regime has, in the history of the world, has failed. And I was telling someone, I'm like, are you so certain that in 50 years, America's still going to be here? And it's like, we're still going to be alive in 50 years, like God willing, whatever. But many people that are alive today, in my generation, will still be alive in 50 years. And based on how polarized the country is right now, I mean, I am a believer that something's going to have to give in some direction. I don't know exactly what that's going to be, but it's comparatively to, let's say, 20 years ago, the polarization is so intense. Even though Trump won, you still have the divide in the country. Like that hasn't
I
gone
think we
away.
have the divide in the country, but just like from personal experiences, like even people that were so anti-Trump before,
It's lessened.
they like even today, like, you know, I was in a strategic planning meeting and they're defending Trump. And I'm like,
Really?
Excuse me, who are you? You know, like, welcome to the club, you know? So I think as divided as you might think, I think people are starting to maybe wake up a little bit and starting to get that critical thinking back.
Yeah.
And maybe analyzing things and starting to believe their own eyes and ears rather than just believing what they're being told to believe.
Have you learned any lessons from him?
From Trump?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, strength. I mean, look at this
so
guy.
what
How
is
would
that?
you
Tell me.
react if you were shot? Right? Would you stand up, pump your fist, and say, fight, fight, fight?
No, of course not.
I mean, I think that that's huge. Energy, passion,
He's
love
ridiculous
of
energy.
country. Like
Yeah.
literally when I went to the Pennsylvania rally, that was his 4th rally. And I just, of the day.
Yeah.
And I just gotten off a plane and I was like exhausted and I'm, you know, almost half his age.
It is crazy. His stamina's
insane. And also resilience, right? I mean, literally the country, the justice system tried to take him down and he turned it around.
There's no one else that would, I really, in the world, I really don't
Honestly.
think that would be able, it's
inspiring.
Yeah, I think that's possibly, the fact that he fought City Hall.
Yeah.
And that's not even saying it properly. He fought America.
Yeah.
And he won.
And he won.
And I think in 2016, like I was telling someone a little bit ago, it was the greatest victory I've ever seen in anything. He beat not only the Democratic Party, not only the media, he beat his own party who didn't want him to be there. It was like a superhuman thing.
Yeah.
And this is not about like getting on my knees for Trump. This is just a practical thing. Just like looking
And
at
we
this.
were all like freaking
what?
out and he was so calm and he was like, no, it's going to be a landslide. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Despite like everything the media was telling us, like, oh, it's too close to call, you know, this many percentage points away. He was so calm.
I never thought she had a shot at winning. That's the truth. I didn't.
Yeah.
To the point that I bet big money on it, and I won big money. So I never, ever. Well, the truth is, I bet the popular vote. That's how convinced I was that he would win, which has never been done.
Wow.
However, it's funny. I didn't bet the regular election only because of the fact that the 7 swing states are determined by between 20 and 50,000 a state. So if they're cheating, they're not going to go to the New York and LA and they're not going to try to with the popular vote. They don't care about that. All they're trying to do is affect those swing states.
Right.
So all they need to do is throw 20,000 votes into 3 of those swing states, change the outcome of the election. It's literally, by the way, 100,000 votes that they cram into the system. Done.
But you know who saved that?
Who?
Laura.
Oh, yeah. I had her on also.
I know.
You saw that, yeah.
Laura saved that. I mean,
she put together like a freaking team, like an army of people.
She had a team of lawyers and police on ready to go. And as soon as she would get a whiff of something, fishy going on, the lawyers and the police would drive to that precinct and stop it. I mean, she was on it. Like, even when we were in Philly and she was getting messages, she was on it. So kudos.
By the way, she is such a nice person.
She's so nice.
Down to earth.
She's so effective.
Yeah.
She did that.
But she's normal.
She's normal.
Like, so normal.
I love her.
Yeah.
I was actually on her podcast like 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did that? Were you close with her at that
it was
point?
just, it was just like, no, that was the first time I'd ever spoken to her. So it was just like through Instagram and like, I don't know. They reached out and they're like, come on. And I was like, oh my God.
Did you stay in touch with her after that, or you more rekindled it?
Rekindled it when they asked me to be a woman for Trump, but we were continuing to follow each other throughout that time.
Oh, God.
And they're very open. Like, I remember Donald Trump Jr. reposted something about, I was like something like money's going to Israel, but we don't have money for the FEMA victims and North Carolina and stuff. And then I clicked on the post that he shared on his stories, and it said something about like genocide in Israel or something. So I messaged him and I was like, listen, the story you just shared says genocide in Israel. And he responded. He's like, oh shoot, I'll take it down right now.
Right.
So they're very like in it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're like, oh, we're the royal family and we're not on the ground and we're not grassroots. They were grassroots. I mean, the whole family.
I think
was
that's
involved.
Trump's superpower, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that he's a billionaire, but he is one of the boys. Like, he will sit down for a beer on Sunday.
It's not just that. As a parent, we always say, your kids are a reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
How many billionaires do you know who have all of their kids surrounding them?
That aren't alienated.
And weird and drug addicts and, trust fund babies.
And with prostitutes.
And are willing to work like these kids worked.
Yeah.
How many billionaires do you know? And I want your people like who have TDS that are like, Trump derangement syndrome that are like listening to this.
TDS, by the way, I think is a real thing.
Oh, for sure.
No, there are people that really.
Oh, I know.
They cannot.
Did you see Barry Weiss go on Fox News today?
I didn't see it.
She basically said, "This is how I got."
I got a call today at 1 p.m. Could I do a podcast? So I just stopped what I was doing.
Literally, she's like, that was me. I was like, label, I can come tonight. I'm in New York.
We're here.
We're here. We did
I'm loving it. So
yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
But so she basically was interviewed on Fox, and the title was how she got over her Trump derangement syndrome.
Oh, really? What did she say? I'm curious about that.
I mean, I think it's just, she's a free thinker, and she was able to kind of think for herself.
Interesting. I wonder how she had it in the first place then. I don't know. I never. Do you remember when they called him an anti-Semite? There was like that point where they were. It's very these people. I don't know. I never understood.
They didn't call him just anti-Semite. They called him Hitler.
Oh no, but I'm talking about there were like Jews who were saying at a point that
Jews saying that.
Are Jews calling him Hitler now?
Oh yeah.
Okay, but whatever. Those people are really, really. I'm talking about when people still didn't know, or like early. This is 2016. He like shared a star or something, or like, and they were, or I don't know, he shared something and they were saying it was like the Nazi star. I don't know. They made some crazy freaking connection. I don't know. Maybe it was like a AAA star in his car, and they like. I'm joking, but like,
I missed that one. I don't know.
This is way back when. But I see him right now as much more of a, like, I've gotten past the point. There's something I realized. I got past the point of the last 3 weeks. Something happened where he's not a celebrity that became a president. I see him much more as a president right now.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Something changed. Like, in his first term, I still saw him as like, Trump is...
Well, he'd never governed.
Yeah, but I'm saying, even when he was president, I could still understand why people thought he was like a clown. Like, okay, like, I understand. Like, he's just... I understood the side. I thought he, like, from a policy perspective, I trusted him. And as far as, like, decision making, I was not nervous at all. But I could understand the other side that thought he was just a buffoon, because he would sit there and tell you how it's going to be the wettest rain that we've ever had. You know, so you're saying that you're just cracking up. Now I don't feel that way. I actually feel like
He's a serious guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
like he can lead. He's leading.
He's leading, yeah.
The next week is going to be bonkers. It's going to be bonkers the next week.
Let's see what happens.
I got to ask you about the activist start. This started when? The first, you said 21, right?
Yeah, it was about 4 years ago. It was before 21. My daughter was applying to my high school. And I said, she's 4 years away from college. I have to start letting people know I'm Jewish and maybe normalizing Judaism. So I just started with the hashtag Shabbat Shalom.
Really?
And-
Did you become more religious? Were you becoming more religious at that time?
No, it wasn't a religious thing. It was more like normalizing Judaism, because you have to understand Persian Jews would never say they're Jewish in Iran.
Why? Oh, in Iran.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so you would even change your last name to not sound Jewish. Like, a lot of people did that. So for me to just be like hashtag Shabbat Shalom, it was like a real fear. I was like, people are gonna attack us, because like in Iran, that's what they taught you, that like if you come out and say you're Jewish, you're gonna be attacked, because that happened. People would beat you up.
Isn't there a Jewish community in Iran right now? Like,
Yeah,
how does that work?
But they're not, some of them, people know they're Jewish, but I'll tell you, like our family or like my husband's family, nobody knew that they were Jewish.
So what's your husband's background?
Persian Jew.
Also,
Yes.
Where did you meet him?
We met, he had just finished residency. He's a neurosurgeon.
guys
And
are killing
I
it.
was just starting residency.
A neurosurgeon and a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
If your brain is breaking, you could come in and fix your face. I mean, we got
We got it covered.
So if I ever
Inside
have
and
any,
out.
maybe you could see me. I could start with him for my brain and come to you for my
Hair
driveways.
transplant. Yeah, exactly.
Walk out a new person. Wow. So wait a second. So you were saying that you met him. Sorry, I interrupted you. So that's why.
I met him. I was a fourth-year medical student. I was actually at Albert Einstein in the Bronx. And I was doing an away rotation in LA in neurology. And I was so bored, I just kept walking down the hall to neurosurgery because, I wanted to be a surgeon. And so I met one of his friends. And then finally he's like, you're in town for 3 more weeks. I know a guy, you'll have a good time, but he never wants to get married. So we went out like 8 times in the first 10 days and we were engaged at 3 months.
I think I have to start saying the same thing, and then I will actually get engaged. Like, I never want to get married, because that's how people get married. I feel like, the people that want to actually get married just they do not have good stories.
I mean, I wanted to get married. I was ready.
I'm saying, but let's say him, like, or whatever. You found
I think for him, he was just, he'd gone out with like the available people in LA, and he was like, if this is it, it's not right for me.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. I feel like
It's a numbers game,
it is a numbers game.
You just have to-
It's like sales.
I guess.
I mean, that doesn't sound very.
It's just, the wider you spread the net, the more likely you
yeah,
are.
that's what sales is, by the way. I mean, I the official girls listening, you're comparing me to sales. No, I'm saying that in general.
Yeah.
I call them touches. Like, as far as like in my company, like when I'm speaking with brokers and stuff, the more people you're gonna speak to, just by definition of odds, you're gonna. So, yeah, I actually was just asked this past Shabbat by people I was telling you about before that I have some good, I've become good friends.
Yeah.
Like, so Label, would you ever date a Persian girl? I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, forget about, I don't even know if the Persian community, they would marry Ashkenaz or no?
Of course.
Oh, they would?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could deal with it. I feel I'd be scared of the parents, and I don't get scared of people very easily. But
No.
No?
No. Spread the net wide.
I happen to be pretty traditional, like, in that sense. I like the community a lot because I feel like they're very traditional, very family-oriented, very conservative values.
Yes.
I love that. That's great.
There
and
you
they
go.
all seem to have a lot of money. So I like that too.
I think that,
Great Neck is awesome.
I think that, the culture is very much directed towards success. I don't know if everybody has a lot of money, but
I'm
I
joking, I'm
think
being
that,
facetious, but-
I think that, even culturally, whether you're Ashkenazi, or Sephardic or Mizrahi, I think, just by virtue of having like a bar mitzvah, learning a new language, learning to lead services in front of a crowd, that's public speaking, a challenge that takes more than 1 minute to achieve what you want, like working long-term and hard for something, is a great lesson for life.
For sure. Do you have a big following there?
Where?
in Great Neck?
Yes.
So you're saying every person from Great Neck is about to be watching this? I already know girls that are going to call me up the second they see your promo go on. Like, label, oh my God. For sure. And a whole bunch of people, yeah.
No, I love my people.
Yeah, you guys keep it very tight-knit.
Very tight. But, again, it's just because we're brand new.
Are you
to this country.
Mashadi? That's like a thing, right? That's
No,
what it's
I'm not.
You're not Mashadi.
I'm like, I don't know what I am. I'm from Tehran.
You're a human. That's what you are.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
I don't know. It's funny. I actually did my genetic testing and I'm actually 73% Italian.
Huh?
I know.
Where did that start
Which
from?
makes sense, right? If you look at me, because most Persians are pretty fair-skinned.
It's interesting, though.
I know. I'm like Italian, Greek, Indian, and Jewish.
Why did you do it to begin with?
I don't know. I just thought it would be like a fun thing to do.
That's such a random,
I don't know.
fun thing
But
to do.
it's so funny when the Persian guys go to the clubs, they say that they're Italian. They don't say they're Persian, but I'm like actually Italian.
Very cool. Maybe they're also actually Italian and they're
Maybe
not
they
lying.
are. But
Where did
I deep dived into Italian jewelry, and apparently we were the slaves when the Romans destroyed the Second Temple.
Yes,
So they
that
took
we were.
slaves to build the Colosseum. So I think that's how I got to Italy.
You've been there.
I've been there, but I didn't know I was Italian
there
at the
2 years ago.
time. So now I feel like I got to go back and I got to
your
do
homeland.
a whole go back to my roots.
That's really your roots.
I know.
The Romans, the Jews, the Colosseum.
Right?
The Colosseum's interesting. I got bored after about 5 minutes, I will be honest. I was like, okay, I see it. What am I doing
You were,
here?
you're jumping off a
My
wall
mind
situation.
cannot. It just doesn't
Yeah.
work to stay still. I saw it, and my friends said, "No, we're gonna do the tour."
They're actually saying, when I was studying this, was that a lot of the parts of the Colosseum were actually brought over from the Second Temple. They
Really?
carried, when they destroyed the temple, they took the
I
building blocks of it.
Yeah.
And that helped build the Colosseum.
They figured out how to do some crazy stuff back in the day without any technology.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. I mean, obviously you have the pyramids, whatever, and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. I saw you had an interview with Kris Jenner.
Yeah.
Are you close with them?
No, I'm not.
You're not. So how did that
I
opportunity come
used to
about?
run a conference where I would teach on the first day business and branding and marketing skills to physicians because they don't teach us that stuff. And then the second day ended up becoming what is it about you that's holding yourself back?
Yeah.
I could teach you all day long about social media.
I would
but-
argue, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're in front of the camera and you're like, oh, I said too many times, or I'm my hair wasn't perfect. What are people going to say about me? You're never going to be successful because you're never going to even hit post.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what the conference became. So Kris Jenner is a marketing genius, right? So I thought she'd be a great guest.
So you reached out to her? Or what was
I reached out to her. I paid her,
Oh, got it.
but yeah, it was great.
No, knowing you for all, I don't know, maybe you placed half of her face and therefore you had a
Not
conversation
me.
with
Somebody in my building. She wrote about it in her book.
her. Oh, okay. Well, in fairness,
Second floor. Of my
I'll be honest, I
building.
do not pay attention to the Kardashians for even a
Well, I
second.
mean, I had to read her book. I don't watch the show or anything, but I had to read her book because I was interviewing her.
Naturally,
so
yeah.
I read her book.
How did you learn the branding side of things? That's a skill.
It is. I think I was always very creative, right? And so for me, branding and marketing became the creative outlet. I think as plastic surgery became more technical for me.
Got it. And that was,
It
you
was,
built it around
yes,
that.
it was I had that craving for creativity, and I think the marketing and the social media kind of fulfilled that. But because
that's-
maybe I did the business school thing, maybe I knew what it took to make people successful. And I was also my own ideal client. So I knew that if I wanted it, other women would want it.
Yeah.
And so I always use that as my thing. So for example, if I was bringing in a new device, I would try it on myself first.
Do I like this thing?
Yeah, did it work? Was it painful? Was the pain worth the result?
You also have to believe in the item just as a side point to really sell it.
100%. But also I think if I'm going to promote this, my reputation's on the line. So it better be good.
Yeah. And it's both. And it also, once you like something, not only
Same with real estate, by the way. I know if I want a house, all the other women want that house too. So I know that that's going to be a good investment.
Yeah. Real estate's interesting just because there are different people that want different things. So it's I might not be looking for a multifamily investment in New York because I'm buying in Florida, but there are people that want in New York. So if I think it's a good deal for New York City, that's where it just is an
Yeah,
example.
you're dealing with deals. I'm talking about
Residential
primary
houses.
homes.
Yeah, no, I understand.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
know if Sheila wants it, I know all the other women want it too, so I know it's going to go up in value. And it's never led me wrong, by the way.
I hear that. So what's next? You have a
I
lot.
want my own show. I just got a book deal. So writing.
With who? Are you allowed to say that?
No, not yet. We're signing on Thursday.
Okay.
So
Leah and I, we will not talk.
Yeah. So
I'll text you on Thursday night.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me know.
And that's going to be an alternative for DEI, actually. So it's a diversity statement that is actually inclusive of Jews. And I think it's going to save our universities and our...
Could you explain what I lost you there?
Yeah, so you know how DEI has excluded Jews? It's led to all the campus problems that we've had. So I came up with an acronym, DETAIL, and it's diversity of thought and life experience. And I've built it out. I have 7 articles published already on it. People can go look it up. So it's DTALE, DETAIL, diversity of thought and life experience. And really it builds out a diversity statement for those institutions that can't get rid of their diversity statement, right? So this really necessarily isn't for red states. It's for blue states or, for example, organizations that need their diversity statement to keep their employees or their donors happy. This is an alternative, more inclusive...
An amendment to actually make it make sense.
Yes.
So we still have it.
Yeah, you can have your diversity statement, but why don't we have one that doesn't carry all the negative connotations?
Why don't we have one? Why don't we have one that's not racist
and not divisive and actually inclusive?
That's what I'm saying.
So a lot of people like Vivek's Woke Inc.
Yeah.
He identified the problem, but this is the first book that's actually going to give a solution.
Cool. That's very interesting. So when's that coming out?
Hopefully in the next
Ideally.
3 months. It's mostly
you written
written.
it?
It's mostly written.
How did you do that? Like, how long did that take you?
So I wrote the 7 articles, and so that was a really good. It was almost like chapter 1,
Right.
chapter 2, chapter 3. It's just building it out and then bringing in
Fine-tuning
the
and just-
research to back it up.
Wow, that's a book. I feel like once you write a book, you've now made it. You could like just.
Do you
hang
think
it-
so?
I'm joking.
I
It's
feel like with social media, it's like, and I already have the show. I feel like people write a book to get a show, but I kind of did it backwards. I got
Yeah.
the show, and it's like, okay, now I'm gonna write
Maybe
a
now
book.
you need the biography. You need someone to write.
That's
about
gonna
you.
be the second
Maybe
book.
That's
That'll be the
one.
second book.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm already onto it. I'm already
Yes.
we're moving quickly. What about any entrepreneurial stuff coming out?
I have my own skincare line currently, but I'm going to be repackaging it.
When did you start that again?
Oh my gosh, years ago. I want to say like maybe 5 years ago.
Has it fell by the wayside given everything that's going on?
It definitely, I do want to, say that I am doing a lot of things, but when you focus on one thing, Label, I think that one thing just skyrockets.
You don't have to tell me. I can't focus on.
I know, that's our problem. We have too many good ideas, and so my goal is moving forward is to give full attention to each business, even if it's just for 3 months. Thank God my surgery is on point. It's perfect. It's the thing that's most in flow and requires, the least
I know exactly what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
The least
Like-
attention to perfect.
It's perfected.
It's there.
Thank
You have
God.
it
And it
unlocked.
has to be, right?
Yeah.
Because that's surgery and it needs to be perfected.
that was
and it is perfect. So thank God that's great. But now it comes to is it the book? Is it the activism? Is it the speaking? Is it another show? Is it the skincare line? Is it the next device for the spa? What is going to take my time? And people are wanting me to be their medical director
feel so
or
spread thin?
board member.
I get anxious about this stuff.
I learned in high school actually that whatever I'm doing at that moment, I'm 100% in it. I'm not thinking about anything else. Like right now in this podcast with you, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm 100% in it. An hour from now, I'll switch and be 100% in something else. So that's been very useful to me, and it's very effective. So when I'm in surgery, I'm 100% in surgery. And when I'm, whatever it is.
I just have a difficult time with, not while I'm doing something, being 100% in on it, but it's like, okay, so I have the real estate, I have the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I always say the thing that drives me the most is being able to do 2 things at an extremely high level of excellence at the same time. Like there's something about that just turns me on. If I think my ideal is close a $100 million deal and have Donald Trump on in the same week. Like it's like, all right, we're building both companies.
Well, I think they're giving you different things. So if you just had to do real estate all day, you get burned out from it, right? So
possibly. There's definitely an enjoyment from this that I get that I would not from that. Yeah.
Exactly. So and that's the same with me. If I had to be a surgeon all day, I wouldn't enjoy it anymore.
Right.
And I wouldn't be as nice of a person because I wouldn't be happy.
I think you still would probably be pretty nice, but
I saw it in my mentors. I saw the people that.
Who's your mentor?
No, just like the doctors that taught me how to be a surgeon, the ones that all they did was surgery and had all their eggs in that basket, they were grumpy.
Yeah.
Or they didn't have good home lives. Or they would be there on a Saturday night in the hospital. I'm like, what are you doing here? But they were escaping from their home life. Do you understand? So I think everybody that you come across, you can learn how to be from them, or you can learn how not to be from them.
For sure. I try to take all the good. I always say that, like, just take the good from whatever it is you're saying. I mean, it's not
but
to
you
go
can
back
learn
to Trump,
from
but I
the
always say
bad
that.
too.
Just
You can learn from the bad.
Yeah, I mean, learn what not to do.
Right, exactly.
So for me, I was just saying that, like, so I'm doing these two things, and it's like, oh yeah, well, I would love to learn every day, and I would also love to go to the gym, and I just find myself, I love to be on that, but I just find myself, there is no time. Like, I'll walk out of here. What time is it right now? It's 8:50 p.m.
Yeah.
That's me. We're gonna wrap this up shortly, and then I'm gonna have to put everything away. I'm gonna have to transfer everything, whatever. I'm gonna have to tell my team, you do this, you do whatever. So I'm walking out here at 9:30.
Yeah.
I've been going since what?
Yeah.
8, whatever. I wake up. I can't go to the gym now. Like, honestly, like, just realistically. So it's just frustrating.
The gym went away 4 years ago for me.
Oh, it did.
I mean, I like to joke that liposuctioning people is my gym.
It's a great alternative.
My masseuse tells me my right shoulder is double the size of my left shoulder from liposuction.
Interesting.
I know. It's like being a baseball player. Their pitching arm is double the size of their other arm.
For them, it's what? It's the muscle.
It's the muscle, yeah. So this muscle of my right arm is much stronger.
You guys beat us. I don't like you guys. You guys beat us in the World Series this past year, right?
Oh, really? Yeah.
The Dodgers beat the Yankees.
I'm telling you, I don't like follow sports. Literally, I'm like news. I'm
You guys got Luka
news.
Doncic.
What?
You guys got Luka Doncic.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, come on, you gotta know this. This is a helpful piece of information. Just post it on your Instagram. You'll get more followers. Luka Doncic is like the biggest trade of probably the last 50 years in the NBA just happened.
Amazing.
And the Lakers got 25-year-old Phenom. So, yippee. You have any? How old's your boy?
He's 16, but it's actually my youngest that's the basketball player.
So ask him. I guarantee you.
Girl.
Ask all of them. I guarantee they're all gonna know.
She's 5'9" in the 7th grade.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's a baller.
She's tall.
And I love basketball.
You do?
I love basketball.
Well, it doesn't sound like you do because
No. I used to watch it a lot when I was younger and I had time. So it was like during the days of like the Celtics and the Bulls and the Lakers. That whole like
that was a great era.
That was great.
I was
alive. All up in it. Now I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, no, now you're doing things actually. So that's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
I used to be a big sports fan as a teen, and then there's something about this, and I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of people, but if you're spending all your time like watching sports, I get it, tune in, whatever, but at a certain point, like...
I mean, for me, I'm spending all my time watching, like, the news, because even tonight, they called me to go on Fox News in LA. Obviously, I'm in New York. Right. But I have to be, like, on it. They call you 3 hours before.
Yeah.
So if you're not up to
I got that
date,
opportunity, and I blew it. I was in Israel.
Oh, okay.
Literally, I kid you not, I wake up in the morning, and I'm always awake. It's like one of those things, or I'm at least awake at a very late hour.
Right.
And of course... That night my phone died and I was in Israel because I wasn't in like my normal setting.
Right.
Phone dies, I'm like, oh, it, I'll just go to sleep. I'll deal with this tomorrow. I wake up the next morning and like 3 hours before I turn on my phone, you're available for Fox because I was there October 7th.
Oh, there you go.
Was that then? And I'm like, oh my God.
No, but they'll ask me like, thank God, I'm so grateful, like at least once a week. So like.
You're on in LA all the time?
All the time.
So interesting. So why don't I see it then? Because I'm in New York. Like, how does
it's the late nights, Trace Gallagher. It would be 11 p.m. here. It's the 11 to midnight show. For us, it's 8 to 9.
It's so funny. You know what I watch most now? CNN. Isn't that odd? You know
why?
I can't. But you know why?
Because you want to know what they're saying.
The other side.
For me, it's NPR. For me, it's NPR in the car. And it's literally
I can't stand NPR.
Pure propaganda, and I can't wait until they're defunded.
Okay. So I also can't wait for that.
Yeah.
CNN for me, actually, internationally, I actually think covers very nicely. Like October 7th, I actually like the way they covered it. I'm not saying every single
show. For like
show.
3 days. It was great.
No, I thought they were decent. I don't know how to explain it. Like for the first few months, like I know what Fox is gonna say. I don't need to. It's like the election.
Yeah.
I didn't bother going to Fox. And maybe a little bit but I know what they're gonna say. The election, I was on CNN. Once I heard CNN starting to collapse in confidence, I ran to MSNBC. Like, that's when you know you're heading in the right direction.
But I'll tell you, Label, like, Fox has more viewers than all of the other ones combined.
I know.
So the most relevant is
no,
Fox.
for sure. I just know. To me, I think it's helpful and healthy to hear the other side.
My
That's
husband feels the
thing.
same way.
I just want... Because you know why? Because at least now I could be a critical thinker.
Right.
So I'm hearing what they're saying, and if it's bullshit, then it's bullshit. But...
Yeah.
And I'll call it that, So MSNBC, I don't waste my time because that's just stupidity.
crazy.
That's just utter stupidity.
It's
Like, there's
crazy
nothing about
talk.
it that's... CNN, though, okay, it's like the middle ground, I feel, where... Yeah, there's a great show. Scott Jennings is on. You know that guy? Scott Jennings?
I mean, I know him. I don't know him.
You're all right. I'm saying, but
Yeah.
he's on that 1-on-6 every single night, and I love watching it because he's awesome. And
But have you watched like Newsmax and News Nation?
a little bit. Chris
If you,
Cuomo's on.
if you
on-
want like middle of the road, that's what you watch.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to start watching. Admittedly, I don't watch.
really just like impressively middle of the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so do you watch that stuff?
I mean, before I started going on Fox all the time, I was on News Nation and Newsmax all the time. So, you have to be on a little bit
Before you get to Fox.
So you're listening to them, and I was just like, wow, that was actually really fair.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. I never listen, admittedly, much. I see clips from Cuomo. That's probably the most that I've seen about. Who else is on there? News Nation. And Newsmax.
Oh my gosh, I forget his name. Starts with an L. I forget.
I don't either. I don't know either.
But yeah,
so
but I
better
mean,
than me.
it's one to watch if you're into that.
I'm definitely gonna tune into
Yeah.
that. I have to tune in. Yeah, I've been doing probably a little much, too much CNN and Fox. I watch YouTube. I'm a huge YouTube guy
That's good too.
because I get to I'll watch it afterwards, and I've been watching Piers on Uncensored or whatever the hell it's called. I have a good time with that. It's good. It's good entertainment.
I feel like that's
good
entertainment.
It's a good show in the sense.
Yeah.
But I would say, by the way, the majority of the audience is like super anti-Israel. Like if you're ever going to the comment section there,
I know.
And then I saw he just did something today with that Rabbi Shmuley guy.
Oh my God.
That guy, someone has to just figure out a way to just get Piers.
You
He'll
know-
never stop going on. We got to just get Piers to stop inviting him.
Well, I think it's about clicks, right? So he's
Every time
provocative.
he goes on, but every time he goes on, we look horrific. It's like such a bad, and it's just like reaffirms all the anti-Semites. Like he just goes on there and just, it's just a terrible look.
Yeah, I think what's his face went on a long Ami. You know Ami the comedian?
Ami Kozak, when was he on?
Amazing.
He's great, Ami.
He's been on. He did great, and he's such a doll.
When was he on? How recently?
A while ago, but
Oh.
he's a doll.
Ami's
And
great.
He did great.
He does imitations of me, which I'm extremely honored by.
really?
He just did it today. Literally today, I saw he posted. He tagged me.
I was at an inauguration. We went
Someone sent that to
to
me.
the TikTok party. He was there, and I was there, and also the RNC. He was there.
He's great.
And he did some impressions of Trump.
Oh, he's
on
amazing.
stage. Amazing.
Yeah, he's really. He does the greatest Jordan Peterson I think. I mean, anyone's ever seen.
Really?
I haven't
seen that
actually
one.
insane.
He's very talented.
Yeah, he's a good speaker also.
Yeah.
I didn't like when he did something with Candace and Dave Smith. I can't.
But he held his own. He did. I thought he did.
I mean, Dave Smith is a tricky debater. Let's call it. He, whatever. I'm not gonna get into all the details here. We'll be here forever. But you have to really know like Dave Smith's MO in order to debate him. But either way, Candace, I'm not even going into that direction. Forget it.
So sad.
I want to say thank you so much for coming on. Really.
Thank
What can we
you.
plug, Sheila?
Oh my gosh. Just, I think, follow me on X. It's Dr. Nazarian, spelled out doctor. And on Instagram, it's Dr. Sheila Nazarian, DRSH. Dr. Sheila Nazarian.
Any shows, books?
Netflix,
Sitcoms,
Skin Decision, book coming soon. So I feel like if you just follow me on Instagram and X, you'll be up to date.
And guys, if you need hair transplants, Botox, fillers, surgeries, boobs, implants, butts, you name it, Dr. Sheila Nazarian has got you covered.
So
on
true.
that. Yeah.
Facelifts.
Guys, when I come back next week, I will have a full head of hair. A nice, sharp.
And boobs.
I will not. That you will not see. I can tell
Then
you.
you'll really not need to find a wife. Self-serve.
Self-serve. There you go. All right, guys. Thank you so much all for watching. Sheila, thank you so much again
Thank you so
for
much.
coming on. I hope you all enjoyed. Another amazing episode coming next week. Peace and love.